This is Luis Sandro, FightHype.com here with Crystina Poncher. First of all, Crystina, we got a big fight here. Timothy Bradley, Jessie Vargas. Your initial thoughts? Everybody thinks there's going to be a war in there. What do you think?
I don't know if it's going to be a war. I mean, I feel like both of these fighters have that in them, and we've seen fights where that has been brought out. But I think the best way for Tim to fight and win the fight is to have it be more of a boxing match. I think for Jessie and for Roy, if they can pull Tim into the trenches and turn it into a war, I think that that's to Jessie's advantage. But I know we've seen Tim fight in so many different styles, and depending on who his opponent is, and he's really into the business of wanting to entertain these days. So it probably will end up being more of the war than it needs to be if you know, Tim follows Joel's game plan. But you know, Jessie and Roy have gone back to the drawing board, and they know this is their toughest test, and this will help to springboard Jessie big time, and to get a belt at 147 would be great for him because he still has his title at 140.
You know, a lot of people are still talking about the Triple G fight. I don't know if you got a chance to see it, but if you did, I mean, what were your thoughts? A lot of people were impressed. Some people think, you know, he looked a little vulnerable. And we saw Gonzalez also. What were your thoughts in the card?
Yeah, I was traveling back from our True TV show, so I didn't get a chance to catch the whole fight. I have it on DVR, and I've seen all the highlights on social media. But I mean, I do think Triple G is the real deal. It's just hard because, you know, he hasn't been able to face A-level competition, and it's not because he doesn't want it. And I've talked to Abel before, and they want it, but it's hard to get these guys to come to the table or to come either down to 54 or whatever the case, up to 60, whatever the case is. And I think that there are moments that you can tell that he's a little bit vulnerable, but every fighter has those moments. Who looks spectacular 100% through every round of every fight? So I definitely am looking forward to maybe a Canelo fight against him. I don't know if Cotto, I don't know what's going to happen there with the weight, but it would be interesting to see. And then Roman Gonzalez, I mean, it's like his record speaks for itself. He's you know, everyone's like, who is this guy? Some people didn't know who he was, and I'm like, oh, he made a statement, you know what I mean? And his record, he has a record to back it up, and I think he has a bright future. I think he made a big statement.
You know, we just had Mayweather Pacquiao. I'll come back to that, but you know, Canelo Cotto seems on the horizon. Big Puerto Rican versus Mexican fight. How excited are you about that fight? I mean, what do you think we expect in that fight?
I would love to see it. I mean, Cotto obviously has to win his fight in June against Gale first, which a lot of people think that he will, and that could set up. And I think that's a big fight. You know, that rivalry, Puerto Rico and Mexico in boxing, is so huge. You have a guy that's on Cotto that's been at the top of his game that maybe some people think he's making that turn. And I think you have Canelo, who had a minor setback against Mayweather. You know, maybe took that fight a little earlier than he was ready for, but it looks spectacular. I do think Kirkland was tailor-made for him, so that helped. You know, in terms of their style. But it would be a great test, and I think it would be a great fight.